So guys, it's Sunday and I need spiritual uplift, and who better to give me that than a Bryant? Okay. I'm talking about Dr. Thema Bryant, and she's got this book out, Matters of the Heart. Yes, that name is familiar. Her mama, the late Reverend Dr. Cecilia Williams Bryant, that we still adore and miss. Her daddy is Bishop John R. Bryant, who can bring some timber down. And her brother is the one who's, doing that boycott, but it all runs in the family. It's in the bloodline, right? But we're talking about this for spiritual vitamin today, Matters of the Heart, healing your relationship with yourself and those you love. Dr. Bryant, thank you
Uh,
for joining me.
oh, thank you for having me. I am so excited, and this is the right time and the right message because many are feeling discouraged and
Yeah.
disconnected.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking to see a lot of what's happening, even if when our hearts are frozen
Yeah.
and disconnected as a way of survival, that we have to breathe life back into our hearts. That's our force.
And I watched you on Oprah. I follow you everywhere. Your moments, your spiritual moments on IG and everywhere. You're everywhere on social media. But also you were talking about grieving. In this moment, a lot of people are grieving.
Yeah.
Black people, someone said, Black people aren't out there protesting because we're grieving. I said, you know what? It makes sense. And that was
Mhm.
Brittany Packnett Cunningham that
Yeah.
said that before that Sunday before the Delta Days happened in Washington, D.C. And then you had a lot of people who are still in a perpetual state of grief from November 5th when Kamala
Yeah.
Harris didn't win.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? Is that doing harm to ourselves and then to the collective, or what is it doing?
It is so important that we give ourselves permission to grieve and space to grieve. I remember during the protest march of Black Lives Matter when people were getting angry about us being in the streets,
Yeah.
and someone in social media said they were so focused on our anger, they didn't see our grief.
Wow.
And grief is humanizing. And sometimes, well, the truth is, in our history, we didn't always have space and time to grieve. We had to continue to labor, right? And so the way we coped was with busyness and using our faith, but our faith as a sedative. Right? When we would sing that song, I keep so busy praising my Jesus. I ain't got time to die,
Yes.
right? That I don't have time to be still. And that's not, sometimes we can celebrate that and say like, I'm a superhero, but it is important for us to grieve for all of the generations who did not get to grieve. It is an intergenerational wound. And some of us say like, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine. But that's when we don't notice the ways that we bleed. So our pain can show up in our parenting. It can show up
Yeah.
in how we treat each other. It can show up with us being perfectionists and controlling. And so it is a way of honoring our humanity to be able to hold space for our grief.
And you said something so poignant. You said superhero. You and your brother have talked about this, the
Yeah.
superhero syndrome, but then the superheroes also has some human traits. Tell me about that, because we are, like you said, we're so busy. And particularly women, we're
Yes.
saving the world, saving
Yes.
the home, saving the community, saving the church, saving the
Yeah.
school, saving the government. But we don't have time to save ourselves.
Absolutely. There's actually a psychology concept that was developed thinking about Black women, the Superwoman syndrome. And with this syndrome, we are excellent at anticipating and meeting the needs of everyone else. And if we think about it, that's been our role to carry everyone else, but to the neglect of ourselves. And that's why it's important that we deal with self-abandonment and self-neglect, because the truth is erasing ourselves is unsustainable. And we wear ourselves down, and it shows up in our physical health, in our mental health, in our spiritual health. And so it doesn't mean we can't be strong, but we need strength and truth. When I am able to press through for a season, that makes sense. But when we say for the entirety of my life that I am too busy to grieve, too busy to have anger, too busy to have sadness, too busy what? Too busy building up other people's institutions, too busy taking care of other people, and to know that it is a radical revolutionary act to say, me as a Black woman, I am worthy of care. I am worthy of rest. That's a radical statement.
Because your body, yourself is your temple. And
It
that,
is.
yeah, and that's the piece. And then, so when you're too busy, I'm going to go to chapter 6, being more emotionally available. When you're too busy,
Yeah.
it goes into difficulty building relationships and keeping relationships, right?
Right. And to have relationships that are actually reciprocal and mutual.
Right.
We're used to being the strong one. And so then that makes it one-sided. So I'm the
Mhm.
strong one in my family. I'm the strong one in my girlfriend circle. I'm the strong one at church. I'm the strong. And then the way that ego is set up, then it becomes like a mini Messiah, which sounds like if it
I'm
wasn't for
always the one
me,
doing it. I'm
right? If it
always,
wasn't for me, this thing would fall apart.
yeah.
Nobody is there for me. I'm there for everybody else. And when that is the anthem of our lives, we have to press pause to say, what am I doing that is co-creating this myth that I have no needs? What am I doing participating in relationships that are one-sided? And so what often happens is when we're struggling, we disappear. When we're
Yeah.
struggling, we isolate, right? We only show up when we're shining, and that's not real friendship. And so we have to learn how to let people love us.
Mm. Chapter 6. If you have difficulty building or maintaining connections over time, consider what makes you block deeper connection. Again, if you have difficulty building or maintaining connections over time, consider what makes you block deeper connections. So
Yeah.
what's that block? Why don't we go deeper? It's like you
We,
said, the past,
yeah.
was it someone made, you might have been someone who people talked about you, ridiculed you,
Yes.
or the way someone felt powerful, or you made
Yeah.
them look powerful, is to walk away, look like they were strong, but they walked away. They avoided situations, avoidance, and things of that nature. Talk to me about that.
It is distrust based on disappointment. And
Mm,
so we've been dropped, right? It may have been our parents who didn't show up for us or whoever raised us. It could have been like not being the it girl when you were growing up, that other people were celebrated and other people were highlighted and that wasn't you. It may be time and time again on the dating apps being passed over at the club, you sitting there nursing a drink, not being attended to. And so we base our truths on the evidence. And so, what a healthy relationship requires is, can I have faith to receive what I have not yet seen?
mm,
Right. And so, it's understandable that our hearts have hardened over time,
mm.
but we have to think about what that costs us. Is it then sabotages any possibility of connection because I'm afraid of being disappointed or rejected?
And what's crazy is in this great book, Matters of the
Well,
Heart.
I love all your sticky tabs. You are just,
Let me no look. Let me tell you, I buy books. I support the Bryants because
I
they
love
supported
it.
me. And you should see the sticky tabs I have in your mother's book.
Oh,
Oh my,
yes.
yeah, the prayers, her book of prayers.
Yes.
That, yeah,
Hit after hit.
I'm a sticky tab girl. So that
I
lets you
love it.
know. But another piece is, and let's talk about our sister friends.
Yeah.
Those chapter 13, repairing broken friendships. A lot
Yes.
of us, we try to find it takes, and you talk about that, finding your tribe. But
Right.
sometimes when we think we found our tribe
Yeah.
or found our people or our
Yeah.
persons, sometimes it goes awry.
Right. And it
Talk,
is,
yeah.
yeah, it's important to consider um, that healing ruptures,
Mm,
breaking points is sometimes possible. And often our theme is cut them, right? Like cut people quick. New Year's Eve, cut them off.
Should
You
old
know,
acquaintance be
right?
forgotten
Cut them,
and
cut
never
them.
brought to mind?
Yes. So I think we often go to either extreme. There are those of us who cut people quickly, and then sometimes the people don't even know what they did. But we're like, oh, she knows. Oh, she should know. And there's never been a conversation or an opportunity to repair. And then on the other end of the extreme are those of us who hold on out of loyalty to people who have not
Mm,
been our friend in over a decade. But like we grew up together or we went to college together. And so that's my girl, even though all of the behaviors indicate this person does not care for you. So it requires that middle ground of being able to grapple with when to release and when to hold on. And there's a time and a season for both.
mm,
And no one can give you that script. It just, I would say, has there been any attempt at real conversation about the issues? Have you really shared what you need? And sometimes we're expecting people to read our minds or thinking like that we're supposed to be clones, and we're not going to agree on everything.
mm.
But what I have discovered is sometimes the other person is waiting for someone to go deeper. So let's say this is like a kind of superficial friendship. We meet for brunch. We don't really talk about anything. It's, a whole lot of performance. And in
Because
that,
you don't want that person to really see you.
right. So you're hiding. And then what we often find out is when I share something real, somebody often responds me too. But we both been performing and pretending and afraid of being seen.
But there's also, I say to people, sometimes everyone can't handle your truth. And
Hmm.
sometimes you have to test the water to see,
Come on,
you
that's
know,
it.
yeah,
You give people a piece and
right.
see how they respond. You don't have to give them everything because
Yeah.
some people, as you said, won't handle you well. So I give you a piece and see how do you show up for me in that moment. And then like a week later, does the whole world know my story? Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, that's a hard way to find out that someone is not trustworthy.
But then we go, why when they are not trustworthy,
Yeah.
why did I give them that even little bit? And
Uh-huh.
then we have to give ourselves grace and go
Yeah.
into self-forgiveness that you talk about.
Yeah. And I will say, for some of us, a part of the healing is shattering the shame. Right.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because it's like the thing I don't want anybody to find out about. How liberating is it when, like, that's my truth and I tell it, right?
Yeah.
So there can be, I mean, you can know that maybe you weren't ready and they told it before you were ready. And I would encourage us to think about the things I'm afraid of people finding out, but that are my truth. How can I give myself grace for that? How can I accept myself with that? And how do I get to the point of testimony where I can actually speak it and know that's my past, it's not my present?
Mm, the power. Now,
Yeah.
what I also love is how you end each chapter. And you had some affirmations that I love. You have activation exercises.
Yeah.
What is an activation exercise that you would say is pretty much something that covers it all in your book?
Yes. So I would say one activation exercise is this week, I'm going to tell myself the truth and tell that truth to somebody else. Because sometimes we're not just lying to other people, we're lying to ourselves, right? I can't share a truth that I don't recognize for myself. And so, to deal with these matters of the heart and to have authentic relationships is to break out of survival mode. In survival mode, I try to guess what people want and then I give it to them. I try
Mhm.
to guess what is acceptable, what will be attractive, what will be chosen. And then I'm reciting that like a script.
Mhm.
But to get free, then I start to tell myself the truth. So I can do that with journaling. I can do that with a voice note on my phone.
Mm.
But eventually, outside of myself, I also want to start giving honest answers. When people are like, "How are you?" Girl, I'm blessed.